Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all keeping safe and well in these crazy times. Here in England, we're entering our second national lockdown now, so I wish everybody the very best with that. It is going to be hard, nobody wants it, but it's a sad necessity given the rising cases again over the winter, which was kind of inevitable really. We knew this lockdown was coming. So yeah, please do your bit to obey the restrictions, and if you do need help and support, then don't be afraid to reach out for it, whether it be from people you know, or volunteer and community groups in your area, or the Samaritans, mental health charities, or disability and health charities relating to your condition, or social media groups. There's all sorts of help and support out there, so don't be afraid to reach out. There's absolutely no shame in doing so, and as I say, I wish everybody all the best. My mother and I should be fine. We feel much calmer about this one in a way, even though, like everybody else, we don't want this. We feel much more prepared. We've got our regular priority grocery deliveries in place every week now, which is a godsend. Thank you to Sainsbury's for that. That's very kind of them to do that back in the first lockdown, and they've been great ever since. I've also got, friends that I talk to as well. They're vital. So thank you to all the friends who have stayed in touch over the year. It's been a shame I haven't been able to see most of them, but I'm looking forward to getting back together with them in due course. And yeah, I've got various ways to keep myself occupied. I'm going out for plenty of walks, as I mentioned in a moment, and I've got the blogging projects I'm working on as well, and various other bits and pieces of entertainment that are keeping me occupied. So there's no reason for me to get bored during all this, and I know we can do it because we've done it once before. So yeah, it's going to be a strange month again, but we will get there. And also to my American friends, the best of luck to you as well. Best wishes, because you've got your election going on over there. As I film this, the result still hasn't been decided yet. I know it's going to be very, very messy. So yeah, I hope common sense and decency prevails over there, because you deserve it, especially after the year you've had. And yeah, I just wanted to get those messages out the way at the start, really. It is a very strange world again at the moment. It is going to be a rough winter, as we knew it would be. So do stay safe and take care of yourselves. But now let's move on to my favourites and look at what I've been getting up to and enjoying during the previous month. And there's various bits and pieces to mention as per usual. There's a great big blog post to go with it with lots more detail and lots of links. And I'll put as many links in the description as I can as well below. And none of this is sponsored or gifted as usual either. So let's just crack straight on with it. No more rambling, and I hope you enjoy it. So in terms of getting out and about, I didn't go up to central London this month, mainly because the weather was unsettled, not because of any viral risks. The tube network is actually perfectly clean at the moment. They've got a very strict regime. They've never found any traces of the virus on the network, and they've even got UV lights on the escalator handrails in many stations now to sanitise them, just to be on the extra safe side and make sure people are persuaded to hold them again, because they weren't holding the handrails, which is dangerous. So yeah, the tube network's very clean, but as the weather was a bit dodgy, it was easier to just stay local to home. And I did very, very well. I walked over 58 miles in a total of 16 and a half hours across the different weekends in the month. So I'm very, very pleased about that. I walk different streets each time. As I've said before, I record all my routes on the Strava app and then combine all those routes on a big life map on the City Strides website. And it's really rewarding to see my map gradually growing outwards as I do more and more each time. So I know which sections I want to do next during lockdown, weather permitting. So I'll be aiming for that as my little lockdown challenge. So yeah, it's really nice to be able to get some exercise like that. Indeed, I even walked down a road named after me. There is a Glen Road that I walked down, and they've got a hospital and a medical surgery down there, so going down my road can make you feel better. And there's a nice big art installation there as well, a big community mural. So yeah, it was kind of fun to walk down there. I knew the road existed, but I just hadn't got round to going down that way before. So it was nice to tick that one off among many others. And Mum and I had our latest haircuts during the month as well, so it's been nice to get a trim. Little did we know that just under 2 weeks after that appointment, we would be in lockdown again. We knew it was likely it was going to come, but there'd been no announcements at that point. So we're very, very pleased we got our trims when we did. We might have one more before Christmas if they're open again by then, but if not, we can wait until January now. That was the important thing. This will see us through Christmas now, which is good. And it's perfectly safe in the salon. There is always a small element of risk when you go out anywhere now, but it feels really safe in there. They're doing everything they possibly can. They've got the face visors on, and they sanitize everything very carefully after each customer's been in there. We have to sanitize our hands when we go in. They fire a temperature gun at us to make sure we haven't got a fever. We put our name and number in a book in case they need to trace us later on. We have to book appointments to go in there in the first place. They can limit the numbers who are in there. So it's all very well organised and very safe. So yeah, we're very happy going there. And then talking about being safe when out and about, I received a few more reusable face masks this month. I pre-ordered a little while back. And this is a trio of face masks from the London Transport Museum, and they feature maquette designs. So these are the designs from like their seating fabric. They have nice patterns on each of their different routes and things to kind of distinguish them. So I got Victoria Line, District Line and Route Master Bus designs in that set. So they're really nice, and it's just something a bit different really. It gives me a nice selection in amongst all the other different face masks I've bought recently, so I don't need to buy any more for a while unless any really grab my attention. It's just nice to have a selection to choose from, just like you would with any other item of clothing really. If you have to wear these things for a while, then you may as well get something that's comfortable and looks a bit interesting as well. And finally, on the subject of masks, I highly recommend the parody of Be Our Guest from the film Beauty and the Beast that's been put online. That's very cleverly done and very, very funny and a great way of getting the message across. And talking of entertainment, let's move on to theatre next. And this was a particularly special month for me because I was on the radio again. I appeared on the BBC Radio 4 show In Touch, which is a programme every week for visually impaired people. And it's normally hosted by Peter White, who is a brilliant presenter, but this particular week it was guest hosted for the first time ever by Fern Lulham, who has aniridia like myself. She's wonderful. She's spoken at the Aniridia Network conference as well. And she interviewed me about my experience of audio description in theatre, and spoke to a couple of other people as well, because we basically want to get the message out there that we don't want theatre to forget about us. And amongst all this, accessibility for all disabled people is a big concern at the moment as theatres kind of open their doors again. And audio description was already limited in theatres as it was, and we're now worried that it's going to be even less available. So we just want to make sure that our voices are heard and that we can indeed hear a voice in the theatre describing things to us, because it really does open up the world, open up this whole universe, as it were, to us really, and ensures that we can enjoy the same shows as everybody else in the same way, understanding the jokes and the emotions and the dramas and the props and the sets and all this kind of stuff. So do give that interview a listen. I think it came out very well and it's a very good discussion. And the other interesting thing about that show was that there were 3 people on that same programme with the rare eye condition aniridia. Myself, the host Fern Lulham, and another guest that she spoke to called Sinead Kane, and she's a motivational speaker and an athlete, so they were talking about her life. So it's great to have 3 people with such a rare condition on a national BBC radio show all at the same time. That was quite cool. But going back to theatre, and naturally during the year a lot of shows have been posted online to keep people occupied, which is very generous, but many of them haven't had audio description, so some have been very difficult or impossible to watch as a result of that. I have watched a few without audio description, accepting that there are bits and pieces that are missed, but I've been able to follow enough to understand and enjoy what's going on. But some theatres have made the effort. The National Theatre, for instance, have posted a few productions with audio description during the year. And the Old Vic in particular have been very committed to this. So they've been broadcasting a selection of shows from their auditorium live online. No audience there, but just actors on a stage in the empty auditorium, broadcast over Zoom, and they've had audio description and captions for every single performance, which is amazing. And they're doing that again for A Christmas Carol in December. So tickets are coming out to book for that very, very shortly. So my mother and I are going to try and book up for that because we really enjoyed seeing it in person, and we're promised a full production with music and sets and everything. So that should be really interesting to watch online. Let's hope it goes ahead despite all the restrictions, because it is a great show. I highly recommend it. So yeah, audio description and captions will be available for every single performance. So thank you to the Old Vic for putting in so much effort to make your shows accessible. But I did enjoy a show online during October as well. It didn't have audio description, but I was able to follow and enjoy it well enough, thankfully. And that was Wind in the Willows, the musical. That stars Rufus Hound doing a great job as Mr. Toad, and Gary Wilmot and other decent stars as well. And it's really good fun. The songs are very catchy and lively, and there's lots of good humour in there. The story and the characters are fun, and the sets and the costumes are very colourful and interesting and things like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was a good way to pass the time. That was on the channel The Shows Must Go On, which has obviously been famous for showing Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals during the year, and various other bits and pieces too. They've been very busy lately. They've got Shakespeare plays and matinees as well as Friday performances, only up for a limited period of time, so you've got to keep an eye on the channel to see what's coming out at any given time. And if you've enjoyed some of their past musicals on there, then they're actually releasing a DVD box set for The Shows Must Go On, featuring some of the musicals they've done before, like Phantom of the Opera and The Concert of Les Mis and Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and things like that. It's not a set I'd want to buy personally. There's not enough in there that I'm really keen on, but it's a decent box set to have if you like that kind of thing. And if you want to see the Wind in the Willows musical, then it is still available online to rent, just as it has been for most of the year really. I didn't get around to renting it before, but it is worth the money. I think it's only a few quid. As I say, it's good fun. So I'll put a link to that in the description below if you're interested. And then over on the official London Theatre YouTube channel, I've been enjoying more of their Behind the Curtain series, where you get like trivia, interviews, Q&As, read-throughs, things like that for various different shows. So I've watched the videos for Matilda and Harry Potter and the Cursed Child and The Play That Goes Wrong. I've never actually seen The Play That Goes Wrong in the theatre. I saw Magic Goes Wrong just before lockdown hit earlier this year. That was the last theatre show I saw this year. So I know I would enjoy it because I enjoyed that theatre show and their Goes Wrong show on TV, of course. So it was a nice little teaser for The Play That Goes Wrong, one of the plays that I want to see when all this is over and I can go back to the theatre again. And then finally on the theatre front, there was a great performance by West End stars in the final of Britain's Got Talent this year. It's not a show I watch or remotely care about, but I saw the clip that was shared widely online because it's really, really good. It featured stars of Les Mis the concert and Phantom of the Opera and Mary Poppins all getting together to do this great big medley performance, and it was incredible, and it was a fantastic reminder of just how special musicals and theatres are and why they really need to be supported and kept alive because they are such special, wonderful parts of our lives. So then moving on to TV, and my obsession this month has without a doubt been Taskmaster. This returned for its 10th series, but for the first time on Channel 4 because the previous 9 series were on the digital channel Dave, so it's got a much wider audience now. But it won a BAFTA when it was on Dave, and very well deserved it was too, so I'm not surprised that Channel 4 snapped it up when given the chance. And if you don't know what Taskmaster is, then basically it's where in each series a different group of 5 comedy stars, including stand-up comedians, actors, presenters, etc., are set ridiculous challenges to complete to win points and prizes and the ultimate Taskmaster trophy at the end of it. And they're judged on their performances by Greg Davis, who is assisted by little Alex Horne, and Alex Horne actually developed the show in the first place. And yeah, it's just really funny. It's like a gang show really because everybody already knows each other off the TV and comedy circuit, so there's great chemistry there from the outset, and it's just really silly and enjoyable and always very, very funny. It's one of the few shows that can make me laugh out loud very regularly with pretty much every episode because all the tasks are so different and just so silly. So it's great escapism, especially now more than ever. And the contestants this series consist of Mawaan Rizwan, Richard Herring, Daisy May Cooper, Johnny Vegas and Catherine Parkinson. The last 2 are the ones I'm most familiar with, but even when there are people on there you don't know or are not a particular fan of, you kind of get to know them all, and because it's unscripted, it kind of exposes all their flaws and their strengths and everything. So it doesn't matter if you don't like them outside of the show, you can still enjoy them within this particular format, which is very unique and very interesting. And thankfully Channel 4 didn't ask to change the format or anything like that. They allowed the production team to keep the show exactly as it was before, although obviously they've had to comply with COVID regulations, so there is now social distancing in the studio and the audience are in a separate screening room. So it's a bit different in that respect, but even so it's still the same show that you know and love if you've seen it before. And to celebrate the series coming back, I've also binge watched all previous 9 series online as well on all 4, and they're also available on the UK TV Play platform as well, its old home. And if you're outside the UK, you may also be able to watch the episodes on the Taskmaster YouTube channel as well. Those of us in the UK can't see most of those episodes, but outside the UK they are available. And there's also, outtakes on there and interviews and the home tasks that Alex has been setting people, and there's a podcast to go with the new series as well. There's all sorts of bits and pieces on there to go with the show, and there's a website as well with merchandise too and things like that. And the UK TV YouTube channel has outtakes and interviews from the previous 9 series as well, and there's other interviews out there on YouTube too. And the good news is that series 11 was filmed concurrently with series 10 as well, so we don't know who's in that. The audience who saw the screenings to record their laughter had to sign non-disclosure agreements, so they're not allowed to post who's in it, and I don't want to know until the show comes around. So we've got that to look forward to in around April next year, and then beyond that there are 4 more series at least that have been commissioned by Channel 4 already, so we've got plenty to look forward to on the Taskmaster front, which is amazing. And then in terms of other TV comedy shows, it's been great to see current affairs shows Have I Got News For You, Mock the Week and The Last Leg Back. They're always very funny, and we need that kind of light relief from all the events that are going on at the moment. They've all had to make various changes because of the COVID regulations, of course, but they've all coped with it pretty well. It's just been great to see people back in the studio together again because I think the interactions work better that way. So obviously audiences are going to have to be online again now rather than the small ones they were having in the studio before. And it'd be interesting to see if the panellists have to go online again as well or not. But yeah, I'm just glad those shows are back in some form because they're always good light relief. And then briefly in terms of other shows, it's been good to see Family Guy back on ITV2 for its 19th series. It's been great to see The Cube back on ITV for a new series of the game show, this time with a £1 million jackpot. And also disabled comedian Rosie Jones has made a new series called Mission Accessible, where she travels around assessing the accessibility of different places with different guests as well along the way. And that show is available on YouTube, so I'll put a link to that playlist in the description below, and you can see as the episodes get released there. And then there are various bits and pieces coming up as well, of course. For instance, things I'm looking forward to include Staged, the new series of that featuring David Tennant and Michael Sheen. The first series of that earlier in the year was brilliant. There's the new series of Not Going Out that's been filmed recently, and that's going to be very poignant when that goes out now because of the recent death of Bobby Ball just weeks after they finished filming. And there's also the Doctor Who Christmas special, of course, Revolution of the Daleks, a bit further afield. Channel 4 have announced some of their comedy shows, and also in terms of comedy, there's a showcase for disabled comedians coming up on Radio 4, hosted by Lee Ridley, better known as Lost Voice Guy, and that show is called the 13 Million Club. There's Children in Need, of course, who will need your support more than ever this year. And there's always going to be various other bits and pieces out there, of course. I'm not going to mention everything that I ever see mentioned. I'm always keeping a close eye on things, so I'm always well aware of what's coming up. And there's always streaming services, DVDs that I watch too, of course, and things like that. So I'm not going to get bored during lockdown and over Christmas and New Year. You know, there's always going to be stuff I fancy watching. And then finally moving on to music to finish with, and my favourite purchase this month was the new live album by Queen with Adam Lambert, Live Around the World. And that's a great selection of live performances from their tours over the years. You know, it took me a while to warm to Adam Lambert. It's only really been the past couple of years that I've started to accept and appreciate him, I suppose. You know, he's nowhere near Freddie Mercury, of course, in terms of talent, but he does a great job. He makes the songs his own and he's not trying to be Freddie or anything like that. So the shows are very entertaining and I'm glad I got that release. The videos on the Blu-ray are great and the CDs are great. I've posted a very detailed review in my blog of that release, so do go and check that out if you want to find out more. And Brian May has also released a single with Kerry Ellis and a few other wonderful ladies under the group name Woman, and the song is called I'm a Woman, and it's to raise money for women's cancer charities, so it's a very important cause. It's a very catchy, bluesy type number. It's really good. And then talking of Brian May, I also finally received a t-shirt from the Queen store that I ordered a little while back, and it's got a silhouette of Brian May performing live under spotlights on stage with his signature underneath. So that looks quite cool. And then moving on to other bands, and I also bought the deluxe box set of Steel Wheels Live by the Rolling Stones, which has another great selection of live performances in it. There's a show from Atlantic City, which is on DVD, Blu-ray and double CD format. Plus there's a show from the Tokyo Dome on DVD, which is not the same show as previously released in their From the Vault series. It's from the same tour, indeed from the same week, but it's from a different day in that week, so they're slightly different. And there's also a bonus CD in there of a few other rare live tracks as well. There are other smaller, cheaper releases out there, of course. You know, the box set may well have sold out by now, as I think it was limited edition, but you can still get, you know, DVDs and Blu-rays and CDs and things like that. So there's plenty of ways to check out the tracks from that set. And then AC/DC have announced a new album coming out on the 13th of November called Power Up, and they've already released a song from that called Shot in the Dark, which is nothing special or unusual. It's much more of the same from AC/DC, but that's not a bad thing. It's a catchy and enjoyable song, and I'm looking forward to listening to the album when it comes out. And then there's also been a great cover of Status Quo's Rockin' All Over the World by the Sweet Charity Choir, which is worth mentioning because it features Status Quo's drummer Leon Cave as a guest star, which is brilliant. And to thank him for doing that, the Sweet Charity Choir donated £500 to his preferred wildlife conservation charity, Free the Bears. So that was very generous of them. So it's a great version for a great cause. And then finally, we can't talk about music without mentioning the heartwarming story of the month, which is 80-year-old Paul Harvey, the former music teacher who has dementia. He was given 4 notes by his son, just 4 random notes, and he made a lovely tune out of those notes. And that got picked up, it went viral, we ended up on the news, and the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra made a special arrangement of it, which is now being released as a single to raise money for the Alzheimer's Society and Music for Dementia. So yeah, it's a lovely little piece of music, and I encourage you to download it to support those charities. I think it's a lovely thing. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching that. I hope you found that selection of things enjoyable and interesting. And best wishes for the month ahead. I know it's going to be a difficult month for many people. If you want things to keep yourself occupied, then don't forget I'm posting things regularly on my blog as well, which are great little projects for me. So every Thursday, for instance, I'm posting extracts from my old journal. Still going through my time at university at the moment and talking about any socialising I'm doing and DVDs I'm buying. And there's a few top 100 lists I post that I've found in the news at the time and things like that. So there's quite a varied selection of topics in there, and it's nice to look back at times that are relatively normal, and there were things that I'd forgotten that I'd done and seen. And then there's also the Queen reviews I'm doing, of course, as well to celebrate their 50th anniversary. In November and December, I'm doing a massive 2-part review of their Night at the Opera album, which is obviously their huge, stratospheric release that they did. And then, of course, there's the monthly favourites to look forward to next month as well, of course, when I look back at November. And yeah, there's also the lockdown playlists on my YouTube channel that I'm always updating as I find relevant things to put in them. And there's also a big page of resources on my blog, with links relating to COVID and entertainment you might want to enjoy during lockdown and things like that as well. And yeah, that is it basically. Thank you very much for watching that. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as per usual. Please stay safe and well. I hope you all do okay. And I will see you for another video very soon. Bye.